Marcus Chen sat in the mahogany-lined conference room on the 73rd floor. The city sprawling below like a kingdom he'd conquered piece by piece. The glass table reflected the faces of investors from 3 continents, all waiting for him to sign. $1 billion. 15 years of work compressed into this single moment. "Gentlemen," he said, reaching for the platinum pen, "let's make history." The door burst open. Everyone turned. A woman in a red coat stood in the doorway, her dark eyes finding Marcus instantly. His hand froze midair. "Sarah." His voice came out barely audible. "Hello, Marcus," she said calmly, stepping inside. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but we need to talk." The Japanese investor frowned. The German businessman checked his watch. The American venture capitalists looked ready to leave. Miss Chun, one of Marcus's lawyers, said carefully, "This is a private meeting. If you could wait outside." "It's Dr. Summers, actually," Sarah corrected, walking toward the table. "I remarried. And no, I won't wait outside. Marcus, I need you to read this before you sign anything." She placed a folder on the table. It landed with surprising weight for something so thin. Marcus's jaw tightened. They divorced 3 years ago amicably, or so he thought. There had been no litigation, no drama. Just 2 people who'd grown apart. "This is highly inappropriate," Marcus's lead attorney said, moving to intercept the folder. "It's my patent," Sarah said quietly. "The algorithm that makes his entire tech infrastructure possible. The one that's supposed to make this deal worth $1 billion. The room went silent. Marcus felt his stomach drop. He knew Sarah was a brilliant AI researcher they'd met at Stanford, but she'd stepped away from the field when they got married, had focused on their life together. After the divorce, he'd never asked what she was doing. "That's ridiculous," Marcus said. But his voice wavered. "The algorithm was developed independently by my team, my engineers." "Your engineers used the framework I created," Sarah interrupted. "The one I developed during our marriage, on your dime, in your home office. The one we never officially separated in the divorce because you said you weren't going to use it commercially." She paused. "But you did." The German businessman stood up. "Is there a patent dispute here? Because if there is, we're not signing anything until it's resolved." "There's no dispute," Marcus said quickly, but he was staring at the folder. "This is a misunderstanding." "It's not," Sarah said, and he could hear the sadness in her voice. "I didn't come here to hurt you, Marcus. I came because I found out about this deal last week. I've spent 3 years doing important work finding my own way, and I found my own algorithm. A better one." She smiled slightly. "It's going to be licensed to your competitors by next month." The American investor stood. "This meeting is over. We need legal review of these claims." "That won't be necessary," Marcus heard himself say. Everyone stared at him. He set down the pen. His hand was shaking. "Miss Summers is correct. Sai. Slowly. I used her work. At the time, I told myself it didn't matter, that we were a team, that what was hers was mine, but that was wrong." He looked at Sarah. "You told me to wait, to let you properly document everything and transition it. I didn't listen. I was in a hurry. I was hungry." Sarah's expression soft. "We need to pause this," Marcus continued, addressing the investors. "There are legitimate intellectual property questions that need to be resolved. My lawyers will contact you within 48 hours with either a revised deal structure or a full accounting of the situation." The investors exchanged glances. The meeting dissolved into urgent conversations and departures. Within 10 minutes, the room was empty except for Marcus and Sarah. They stood in silence for a long moment. "I didn't want this," Sarah said finally. "I didn't want to come here and blow up your deal. But I also couldn't let you build an empire on something that wasn't entirely yours, while pretending you didn't know better." "I didn't know better," Marcus admitted. "I just didn't care at the time." Sarah nodded slowly. "What will you do?" Marcus looked at the folder, then at her. "The right thing. I'll share the credit. I'll offer you a settlement, and the business partnership if you want it, or I'll license your algorithm legitimately and pay you accordingly." He paused. "What do you want?" Sarah smiled actually smiled for the first time since entering the room. I want to know that you're finally willing to be honest. About the past. About what you did. About who helped you get here. I am, Marcus said, and he meant it. The deal eventually closed for slightly less money, with Sarah's name on the patents, and with her consulting on the next phase of development. It wasn't the story Marcus had planned to tell, but it was the one he needed to live. Sometimes, the biggest disruptions lead to the truest deals of all.